Greetings. Oh god, everyone's frozen. Why? Why does it do this? Hang on. Just stare at our... Oh god, look how upset I look. I look like someone's just died. Meanwhile, Joanne's asleep. Katia is exceptionally bored, and Nulai has heard a noise in the distance and doesn't know what it is. Does that fix it? It does. Yeah, no, it happens whenever I tab out of... It's not supposed to happen whenever I tab out. It used to happen whenever I minimized it. There we go. Nope. Now it fucking lags. Okay, well this just has to be the active tab at all times or else we have nothing. Excellent. Great. Happy Halloween. Please enjoy the technical difficulties.
Now we all just need to pretend that we're lagging, to upset him even more.
Alright, I need to still have my chat, though, and I can't see it while this is the whole screen. So if I can... Ah! No! That doesn't work. Remotely. Okay, hitting this button to center it. Yes. Alright. I understand. Are we frozen? We are frozen. Cool. Well, what the hell do I do? This isn't how it normally works. Okay. What has changed? Has OBS changed? Discord changed? Has Fate changed? What beeth the problem and why is it a wank? Okay. Is it frozen now?
It seems to be fine now.
Is it... Are the faces moving? Do they lag? Are they frozen? Because I can't see it.
No.
They are lagging.
Yeah. Alright, so I mean, I don't really react to the Twitch chat, but it's nice to be able to see the damn thing, in case somebody says something funny or reminds me of something I've forgotten. So, how about I make you small, put you... Nope, that's not working either. I need like 8 monitors.
Now. Oh my lord.
I need like 8 monitors.
Minimum.
Any whales in the chat willing to help Gav with this problem of not having enough monitors?
I can have a smaller monitor on top. I need... Is there like a pop out for the chat? There probably is. Yeah, pop out here. Good. This'll do it. Just one more froze while I have that. Okay. I use stuff. I can tech. Do I cut this out of the VOD or do I leave it? I think it's more fun if I just, advertise the shame. Anyway. Primal D6, you were trying to find space for monitor number 3. Lucky you, I think. Alright. Now, this screen I can... Yeah, this monitor on the left, which has like Roll20 and all the notes and stuff works. It's just the one with the Twitch chat has to have our faces on it or else our faces break! Because faces break now, that's a thing they do. We just have to adapt to that as humans. Let's have some music.
Very Halloween-y thing.
And I will do the proper opening that I was supposed to give before everything went down! Greetings, my excellent friends, and welcome to the 14th session, our Halloween episode, if you will, of our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, City of Dread. Hopefully we will present a thematically appropriate Halloween story, but that depends on where we go and what we do. With me tonight we have 3 of our 4 vampires. The top left corner we have Snip as Nulai, still coming to us from his gaming chair and dark urban metropolis. In the top right corner we have no one, because Flynn is not available today. In the bottom left corner we have Blue Moon as Katia, who is the only person that put Halloween effort in, and for that we are very impressed and grateful. And the bottom right corner we have Ruthie on Fire as Joanne, the not a little bit stressed prince's child, acting prince, 3-month-old vampire for whom a rather ridiculous amount of responsibility and authority has been heaped upon, which they somewhat welcomed, though also... Probably you're not, I can't imagine that you're in love with your unlife right now.
Particularly.
No. You want to get Corpse Mum back. So, before we get into the action, as always, I will set the scene. Remind everybody of what they're watching in case it's your first time here. Vampire the Masquerade, TTRPG set in the world of darkness, a world much like our own modern day, but with certain supernatural horrors lurking out there in the night. Vampires, werewolves, ghosts, competent tech support. Our 4 players will step once again into the role of a coterie of vampires, carving out their place in the night. Forgive my just sudden rash of trauma there. I won't tell you what I had to do earlier in my week. Our player coterie works for the Camarilla, which is a sort of secret vampire government, shall we say. You know those fellas with the tinfoil hats that say that the lizards are ruling us all? In this game, it's vampires instead, and they're actually there. Although they don't really rule the mortal stuff, they just have their own little thing going. The Camarilla operates worldwide. They stick themselves in as many cities as possible, though each city's Camarilla basically operates independently. It's like a feudal kingdom buried within a mortal city, the leader of which in a given city is the prince, which is a gender-neutral term as far as kindred or vampires are concerned. The prince and their court keep the vampires in line for the sake of survival and safety, their number one rule being the Masquerade, keeping hidden from mortals. If mortals become fully aware of vampire existence, they would no doubt destroy them, and while a vampire is much more powerful than an unprepared mortal, mortal in full modern riot gear with a flamethrower is probably going to win. Our game is set in Shadeport, a fictional city which could exist in any nation or in none of them. Shadeport's Camarilla is new and small, with little control over the city as a whole, much of the city being occupied by vampires who don't support the Camarilla, such as a large anarch collective called the West Shadeport Collective, a coalition of smaller groups who band together to protect themselves from such large and organized entities such as the Camarilla. There's also another group, a mysterious bunch called the Cult of Nathaniel, a shadowy organization who practice brainwashing of kindred and mortals alike, all in the name of their great master, Nathaniel, the name referring to an almost mythical kindred of Shadeport's past. Mythical by kindred standards, actually just being 5 years ago, since they don't really have a great communication network existing in secret as they do. 5 years ago, this Nathaniel murdered the old Camarilla prince, caused a power crisis, led to vampire hunters flooding the city, killing everything with fangs. These events created the Shadeport of today, where most of the vampires who live there are new in town. The Camarilla is weak and untested. The kindred population is wild, uncontrolled. Many vampires out there that nobody knows about yet and haven't gotten a full grasp on. More recently, our coterie have learned more about who this great master Nathaniel may be, an impossibly old kindred, sleeping somewhere in secret, whose telepathic abilities have grown with age to the point of being able to influence the entire city with its mind. In our last session, Walter Crimson, a shady character himself who had previously presented as an adversary and a problem for our party, revealed this information alongside his own goals. He is around so that he may kill this creature for revenge, having been manipulated by it in the past. This creature had even stolen Crimson's real name. He claimed to be Nathaniel, the regular Camarilla kindred from 5 years ago, turned into a puppet by this monster, made to bring ruin, commit murder, destroy everything. Didn't really explain how he survived that, but nonetheless, he did. Crimson now has a secret weapon against this creature's influence, a way to find immunity to it, in the form of a friend? Ally? A mortal mage. A woman whose magical abilities are so alien to that of vampire powers and mesmerism that she, and only she so far, is able to shield people's minds against this creature's influence. Our party have been shielded following the revelation, and they should stay shielded, provided they remain in the good graces of Crimson and this mage, Celia. So with this revelation, unsettling as it was, our coterie have pretty much one goal that they've had for quite some time, which is find their goddamn prince. Prince Juliet, the leader of the Camarilla, was in fact abducted by the cult some time ago, ostensibly to cause a power struggle and cause chaos. The group was able to interrogate a captured cultist, a Dr. Emil Hansen, who was in charge of a lot of the brainwashing that was done to many of Shadeport's citizens. Through him, they learned that she has been taken to a place called the Temple, a location that is sacred to this cult, despite very few of them ever being allowed to see it. All they know about it is that, according to Hansen, it exists, and according to Hansen, it is below somewhere. So they must now find more information on where, how to search. Do they just grab a shovel, or do they find a sewer entrance? They don't know. In addition, our coterie have formed kind of a shaky group of allies at this point, of people who are aware of Crimson's claims about the monster under the city, who have been under the brain shield procedure from Celia and are willing and ready to look into this, face the creature for their own sakes of free will and freedom, and also for that of the city. Crimson and his group, of course, himself, Celia, and his bodyguard, who is probably a kindred. Doesn't talk much, that guy. As well as the Anarch leaders, who the Camarilla are trying to stay peaceful with, because a big conflict could just create more noise, and the more noise there is, the more likely that there's another team of government vampire hunters storming in from either some sort of Vatican death squad or perhaps the FBI or the CIA. Shadeport doesn't exist in Italy or in America, but that's never stopped the Vatican death squad or the CIA, so, well. So the Anarch leaders, Theodore Church and Sapphire, a blue-haired Banu Hakim dagger-wielding smartass, they are both in on it as well, as are another two figures from the Camarilla. Sheriff Mikhail, one of the closest friends and trusted folks as far as our group are concerned, and also Yusuf, another Banu Hakim, the Primogen. Also Sapphire's vampire dad, which is awkward because he's a Camarilla bigwig and she's like second in command of the Anarchs, and there's odd history there, and you guys are maybe interested, maybe not. She calls him daddy and he hates it. A motley crew. Perhaps not all fully trusting each other, but largely competent and well-equipped in combat or any sort of dicey situation. And there's plenty of others that you can call upon, but none of them know anything about the monsters, so you've developed a sort of action plan whereby if you're going to tell someone about the monster, you need to have Celia ready to fix the brain, because if they learn about the monster and the monster knows they know about the monster's probably going to do something to them, and nowhere is safe. So, as our session picks up, we'll say that there's been a bit of downtime since the interrogation, as the motley crew, as it were, went about their ways with various plans and preparations that they had to do. One of the things you learned from Hansen was that he himself had been heavily influenced by this creature, had basically been a puppet, a slave, for, he said, decades. And so you freed him from the creature's influence, and he returned to himself, and he was actually quite helpful and horrified and a bit of a mess. Because of this, you chose not to kill the doctor at the end of the interrogation. And so you're having him smuggled out of the country away from the creature's influence, I guess, out of mercy, because some of you are young. Not everybody agreed with that. A few folks were just, chop his head off, you know. But it's what you're doing, and Joanne's in charge, so they will deal with that. We shall say that Flynn, our absent party member, is making arrangements for this and overseeing that as a reason as to why she won't be with us today, because I think that is the tidiest, most sensible way of doing that, short of having her abducted again, which I don't want to repeat because, y'all will just grab your remote and flick to the next episode, assuming you've seen this one before. You've got a few things from Dr. Hansen's info that you can look into and follow up, and I will summarize them. First of all, the best lead on Juliet is this temple. Juliet is there, according to Hansen, or was taken there. It could be the resting place of the monster. Hansen didn't say that. He didn't know, but maybe. In conversation, I believe, with Mikhail and others, the suggestion was made to ask Nosferatu. They tend to know a city's underground lairs and secret places best, given they have to hide because their faces make people scream. So, Joanne, the Nosferatu primogen, Jezebel, as with all of the Camarilla primogens, basically, you were given instructions on how to contact her when you were elected acting prince. So for everyone else, you got a phone number. Didn't get a phone number for Jezebel. Of all of the kindred right now in the modern Knights, I suppose, the Nosferatu were perhaps the most technologically wary. They used to be very into technology. They had their own network, a little database the world over, a secret, vampire internet called ShrekNet, I believe named for Max Schreck, the original Nosferatu himself. And then one day that was hacked. And all those government vampire hunting organizations got a whole bunch of information on kindred society, and this had a domino effect which led to a vast uptick in vampire hunting, and since then the Nosferatu, having been burned very badly by this, don't like phones. In fact, the Camarilla as a whole tends not to like phones, but you guys sort of get away with it. So Jezebel ain't fucking with that. Instead, if you wish to arrange a meeting with her, you have to... You were told about a certain bus stop, a certain street corner, and on the wall of that street corner, if you wish to meet with her, you spray a symbol. Just look like any other graffiti tag, but it's a specific symbol that you were told how. At some point in that evening, she will be told that it is there, or she will find it. And then the following night, pretty early in the evening, she will be in an alleyway near that very spot, and you will be able to meet with her there. So, that is something that you can have done pretty much after around the end of last session if you wanted to go and make that little symbol, and then you would be able to meet her pretty early on.
What are you thinking? I kind of want to pursue this. It's a route I want to take, but... Katya?
Well, we've been told that there is a Nosferatu that's been turned, so to speak.
Yeah.
So we have reasons to speak with them anyway.
Hansen suggested there was a female Nosferatu working with the cult. You asked if that was the primogen, being the only female Nosferatu you know, and he said he didn't think so. Didn't say absolutely not, but he said he didn't think so. There are other leads to follow, though, and I will provide quick reminders. He also spoke, when you were asking after the more militant side of the cult, being that when you captured Hansen, there were armed, perhaps not soldiers, but they acted like them. You imagine that they were brainwashed citizens who were then trained. And he said that there was, in fact, a barracks or a military camp of some kind hidden in the wilderness outside Shadeport, hidden by the forest. You don't know where that is. He gave you a general area. Church, Theodore Church, being able to turn himself into an animal, said that he would perhaps be the best person to go searching for a place like that, but it will take him time. I assume that you nodded and said go do that. If you didn't, then he won't. But you could make your own moves in that regard, but he offered to help. And lastly, you also learned that another high-ranking Camarilla person, Gwendolyn the Herald, was pretty involved in the cult. So you might want to see where she is and what she's up to, because you haven't seen her since you beat her in the politics argument.
Yeah, and where's Jacob again?
Jacob is within reach. He's you told him he was allowed to go back to his home, so you can assume that he is doing his job with logistics and admin and like running. I mean, the Camarilla. He's sort of the money guy for the Camarilla. Is the Seneschal, so you know Juliet would own businesses and such and front companies and all that thing, and he'd basically just be working most of his nights and doing mundane shit that the cool vampires don't care for. Very douchily, I'm sure.
Sounds appropriate. Do we want to swing? Well, how would we find Gwendolyn even? Is it a flyby thing that we could do on our way to meet with Jezebel?
Gwendolyn lives in a house. You don't know where she lives. Maybe someone does, though.
I feel like no encounter with Gwendolyn is going to be a casual encounter with Gwendolyn.
That's also a fair point.
A member of your party knows where Gwendolyn lives, but she's not here. That may be a hint.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gwendolyn has not reached out to you in any way. Her job is the Herald, which means technically, if you're doing official business, she should be... her job is to like announce things and arrange meetings and be the social face of the court so that the prince does not have to put themselves out there. So that's what Gwendolyn is supposed to do, and you are in the prince's spot right now. Gwendolyn has not made any attempt to talk to you since, and does not appear to be interested in doing her job. But then again, you just learned that she's evil, so...
Yeah, that never surprised me, honestly.
No.
I feel like I called that.
She didn't exactly go to a great length of effort in dispelling that. But then, hey, you thought Jacob was evil too, and it turned out he was just dumb.
Yeah, that's also true. So I guess we are old school bat signaling then?
As stated, it would take until the beginning of the following night. Not immediately, you don't have to go straight there if people have something they want to do when they wake up, but you would have a sleep before going to meet Jezebel and seeing if she has answers. Given that you're meeting with... Yeah. Do you just... Are the three of you intending to go meet her? Do you bring anyone with you out of all of your many contacts?
I think given that she's quite suspicious, I don't know if I would take anyone with.
I'll bring my dog. He could use a walk.
Okay. Because anyone that was going to that meeting, you'd probably have to let them know before you went to sleep. Now.
Mikhail is not in a physical state to do anything yet, is he?
I would not bring him to anything that would get into a scrap, but if... he probably... If you ask him how he is, he would basically say, look, I feel like shit, and I'm probably going to need a few days before I can punch anyone. I don't like running away from things, but if you mention the Jezebel thing, he'd be like, she might be nicer to you if I was there.
This was my thought, but we also don't really want to, compromise his health recovery situation.
Jez is not going to attack you if that's what you're worried about.
No.
If you go to the meeting and she is not there, then we're fucked.
That's disconcerting.
As in if she sends someone else, or if she doesn't get the signal, then something's happened to her. Probably not.
Can we, Let's go together to the meeting, and then from the meeting, Mikhail goes back to his den or whatever. But just to have him present for the
At no point has Mikhail ever indicated any desire to tell anyone where he lives.
This does not surprise me.
He reluctantly agrees. Like, he's a sensible guy, but he's also not used to being the invalid. He's just like, he makes some thing about, you know, mother sending me to bed early, but he's like, oh, he's all right. He will agree to bugger off when things get not friendly.
Okay, good. Because I don't imagine Flynn would take very kindly to anything happening to him. So
he looks horrible, by the way. One of his eyes was removed in the fight with the lion, and it is
oh my god,
perhaps a third of the way grown back. So he has just this like tiny, like pulsating, malformed bead. It looks great when he winks.
Oh no.
There's also just just places where you think most people tend to have skin that he does not, like just holes, like arm chunk missing. Like things grow back. The way kindred work is that the state that your body was in at the time of your death is your natural state. Your hair will never grow, and if you cut your hair, it won't so much grow as return to how it should be. Which is great if you lose a limb, but not great if you get sick of having a beard. Because you will never not have a beard. Sorry, yeah, you will never not have a beard again, unless you happen to die without one.
So you better hope that you were in like peak form and maintenance when you died.
Occasionally, some magical related incidents can leave permanent effects. Generally, changes to the body fix pretty quick, but healing can take longer. In Mikhail's case, he got ravaged by a vampire lion, so he's got some work ahead of him to get those body parts back to where they should be.
Cool. So ideally, we don't really want to get him into any sort of fight.
There's also the fact that if a single pedestrian sees him in his current state and cannot be convinced that it is makeup, you are probably in a masquerade violation. But you're the prince, so who the fuck is gonna get you for that?
We can just stay in the car.
The meeting is in an alleyway, so you know you could. He'll wear a hood anyway. Nosferatu often wear hoodies and because you know some of them have goblin ears and shit, horns.
See, that makes perfect sense.
Anyway, the meeting is not happening right now. Y'all will sleep, and y'all will wake for the next day, so I must ask, do any party members do anything worth making a scene about in that time?
No, but I would like a reminder on how much we heal while resting.
Oh, yes, you're hurt. I believe... I mean, you can heal to full at any time. Oh, damn it. Stop freezing.
I'll take just natural.
Yeah.
Natural days healing.
Rouse checks will give you the
Also that.
healing at will for anyone who does want to do that, but I think it's on your character sheet. Or is that for how much you get from the rouse check? Hang on.
Well, I forget which stat it is.
Mend amount, 1 superficial damage. I think that's per rouse check. Ending damage, page 21.
I'm quite hungry, so I would have to do something about that.
Now that's talking about... You can only mend 1 point of aggravated damage per night, but I don't believe there is a limit on superficial health damage. I know that your superficial willpower goes back to full overnight. As for the healing of the regular stuff, yeah, it would be... For you, it would be a rouse check per superficial damage healed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily know that that's a natural process that happens overnight beyond... You do a rouse check when you wake up, so I imagine that you would heal 1 when you wake up for free. Anything more than that, you would have to risk the hunger for. But, I mean, if you're going to bed and all of that, you could eat somebody on the way home.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess I'll take the 1 and do a rouse check for a second one, if that's the process.
It would end up being 2 rouse checks, because you would...
On waking? There's normally one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we can do that as a round once we get there. So for now, just do 1. I'll give you the 2 heal points, though. I already put them in. Rouse at the bottom of your sheet.
Pew, pew, pew. Pew.
I'm clicking, but it doesn't want anything to happen.
Oh no.
Is it doing this again? What did I have to do last time? I think I had to go into Roll20 and basically, like, reset it. I had to... destroy and then reopen the yeah, no, the same thing happened last game. It's just Roll20 is just like, no,
The true horror of Halloween, technical difficulties.
Not anymore. You don't get your cool stuff. API scripts. Disable it. Enable it. I think that's what I did last time. I disabled it. And then I enabled it. And now you hit the button and see if it works.
That's a button. It worked.
Heard a weep.
A button worked. Stunning. Katia and Joanne are both hungrier than they were before.
Oh dear.
Did it? Did it? So yeah, I just need to. I just need to turn it off and on again to make the fucker work.
That sounds about right.
The solution to all technical problems.
Yes, I think that puts Katia
What's
hunger
the first rule of tech support?
3.
Turn the computer off. Turn it on again.
And puts Joanne at hunger 3. Did you add a hunger point, or are you already at hunger 3?
I added.
Okay, so you're both at hunger 3. In one feed, you can go down to hunger 1 without killing anybody. You can take 2 points from, but let's rather than hand waving and letting you have a free meal on your way home, considering your, Juliet's endless stock of humans is at her mansion. They're all dead, so you have to work for it now. Joanne, you're gonna have to go out and seduce someone, and Katia, you're gonna have to go out and mug someone. So the way that works,
Wild ride.
you flip to the 3rd tab, Blood and XP, and you will see Predator, and it will give you a button, and that is your simulated hunting roll when we're not making a full scene out of it, to just show your attempt to go and find somebody to chew on. 5 successes. Yeesh. Katia. 5 successes to Joanne. Joanne, you head to one of your, no doubt, several places that you know well that are full of young, drunk people who are looking to indulge in many different substances. You find whoever you want, really, someone very attractive, who is amenable to your advances and who is very happy to partake of the powder that you offer them before you give them, playful neck bite that turns into more than they expected. And you are able to, without any trouble at all, take 2 hunger dice away from... lower your hunger by 2 down to 1. Unless you decide to kill them and take that last hunger die. But you behave?
We're good. We're good.
Then we move to this fuck up. Katia,
Am I eating somebody?
You got
I'm
one
eating
success,
somebody, aren't I?
but you also got a 1 on a hunger die, and a 1 on a hunger die is called a bestial failure.
Oh no.
Look, it's starting to sink in that your sire has effectively gone off the deep end. Your sire is working with the cult. You aren't sure if his mind has been lost, if he has been brainwashed. Hansen did not say that he personally did that to Arcady. It's entirely possible and in line with everybody else that he is being controlled, but there's a small part of you that wonders whether that would be necessary with him, whether his instability and eternal search for meaning might have led him down this path willingly, and it's just... It isn't until you're on your own and you're getting into that bestial mindset, that hunting mindset, that your calm, constant, careful control over yourself slips. And it's when you're doing your usual of, holding someone up, shoving them against a wall, basically, making it as though you are going for their wallet when you dive in, let your teeth sink in. I would say that this person... Well, you don't know. You don't know what they were doing. They're not, young, walking on their own. Let me just roll to see. Okay. Yeah, just looked like a young man. Perhaps he was out partying himself. Did not find anyone to take home with him. You see the fear in his eyes. As you bite in, you feel that fear. He is fear and just confusion. Like, he doesn't really understand why this is happening to him. Perhaps he was having a terrible night. He has never been mugged before in a city like this. I don't know how that happens, but all you feel is just that almost indignant confusion and fear. This not just terror, but I guess a half-felt anger at the bad luck of it all. It's more intense emotion than you're usually feeling, and that adds to it. It mixes with your own. It drives the sense out of you, and you just keep drinking. And you don't realize he's dead until you can't feel any more blood coming in. And it's at that moment when you come back to yourself. You don't know who he was. You don't know anything about him other than the mindset that he was in. And that mindset is still coursing in your brain. It's deeply intense experience. And the dread and the guilt is sitting there alongside how good that felt. And you want to enjoy it, but you just can't because, well, that wasn't supposed to happen. That's not how you do these things. You don't leave bodies. But nonetheless, there is one, and now you're going to have to decide what to do with it. And also, probably going to be carrying this with you. Probably going to have to take a look at yourself at the end of this one. I'll just put a little mark next to that humanity there, and at the end of the session there is something you will have to do to figure out whether you can forgive yourself, because that does go against the sort of moral standards that we'd set. I can't remember the specifics of
collateral damages to be avoided.
Yeah. The general idea of randomly killing someone who has no... did not choose to be an opponent in that scenario is something that will weigh in on you. So, good news is, you're full. Your hunger is... zip. And we'll say that that's something you did after waking, because... No, there is another rouse check coming. No, you didn't do both, you only did the one. Okay, that's fine. I healed you the 2 points ahead of time, but I didn't do the second rouse check, so no. You may get hungry again and lose that fullness, but you'll go to bed feeling fantastic. In the physical sense. Emotionally, no. Alright. Joanne is full healed. Katya, you have... Yeah, you'll heal again overnight, but you'll still have one piece of damage there. Nulai, are you... eating? Are you doing... What are you doing? What are you up to?
I think I have a friend to meet.
Right. Also, overnight, your willpower. You have one willpower thing that'll heal overnight. I won't mark it, but mark it yourself when you sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
Nulai goes out on his own. Do you sneak away from everybody? Do you...
It's basically when they go out to get their own meal, I get my business done.
Yeah.
I just tell them, don't wait up.
It's not exactly very unusual for the vampires to go out on their own. So it probably just seemed like you were feeding like the others.
Yeah. And we will call up on our old friend Daniel.
Yeah, just walk up. Hey, Nathaniel, I'd like to join your cult. No, your old friend Daniel, who is a scared young man who I believe you saved from a mugging by very sternly telling the mugger to go away, and he did. Now, Daniel knows nothing about the fact that you're not alive. I'd imagine that you've met him a couple of times off camera, and started a kind of awkward friendship, I would say, that is in keeping with Nulai's character, but just a mortal who you can talk to that just gets away from all of the stupid bullshit that is your current life.
Basically that.
He's never fully been at ease around you. Perhaps he senses something a little intense. Perhaps he asks questions of himself about what it really was that you did that night and how it was able to work. But he is polite and grateful and seems to want the best for you. So he's happy to see you, and once the small talk is out of the way, I imagine he asks whether there's something on your mind, whether there's something that brought you out here.
Yeah, I guess I've got a lot of things on my mind. Do you know? Well, I assume you're probably more well aware of this city than I am, so.
Well, I mean, I'm not a party animal, but I lived here, yeah.
Well, I'd say, well, party is probably the opposite of what I'm looking for right now. Are you a religious man, Nathaniel?
My name's Daniel.
Fuck.
No, I like that. I like that Nulai thinks you're Nathaniel. That's hilarious.
Sorry, but it's many names. Sorry.
I mean, I was brought up that way, maybe, but it's kind of hard to have faith when a lot of things in your life are awful.
I know that feel, but if it's okay with you,
yeah,
I'd like to visit church or a cathedral or whatever is up your fancy.
I'm sure there's plenty of those. Do you mean a kind of like Christian place? Catholic?
Sure.
Or one of the others? You mean now?
Whatever is open right now.
Okay. Daniel is confused, but he sort of gets his phone out and just starts Googling church. You see... He brings up Google Maps and says that there's a chapel nearby that is open all night and is a place where people can come in and contemplate, and that it is somewhat of a non-denominational place, sort of place that offers like for funerals and weddings and such, and isn't overly, you know, my god has a bigger dick than your god, that kind of, none of that there. And he says, well, I mean, you know, it's not exactly something that he is incredibly familiar with, but he would suggest that a place like that might be more willing to accept whoever walks in the door at the middle of the night than a more of an insular community type place.
We'll take that.
Yeah.
I don't. I wouldn't really consider myself a man of faith or believing in higher powers. At least, not until I came here.
Right.
But I feel like there have been many events going on that make me feel powerless and make me feel like that I have to believe in something.
I can understand that.
Like it's like it's not exactly a revelation, but just more of a acceptance of higher powers, I guess. And I guess right now I could find solace in one of those.
Well, let's go and see. I think, I mean, it certainly sounds nice, perhaps, to put some hope in the idea that the world makes a bit more sense than it seems to. That, you know, there's something looking out for us. Like I said, I was raised that way and believed in it quite a bit when I was younger, but things weren't so easy growing up. But hey, perhaps I can take a look back down at that the same time that you're looking forward.
Look, I'm not trying to convert you or anything.
No.
Don't worry about that.
At this point, I'm willing to, you know, think along those lines and see if it helps you and possibly could help us both. So
a little prayer never hurts anyone.
Types in, says go to the end of the street, turn left, and then we keep. Do you have a car? It's not that much of a walk. It's a nice night.
I guess we'll walk. I'm not really much of a driving man myself.
You guys head off and, you know, take a few turns. At some point you hear a noise that sort of, Daniel's like, what is that? Nulai, you recognize this noise. There's a rather messy vampire feed happening not too far from you. You don't feel like it would be a good idea to investigate that. So Daniel's like, what is that? What that sounds like? It sounds like an animal or something.
I'm actually animals kind of terrify me. I think we might want to take a detour or something. I really.
Oh, I agree. I mean, you can't negotiate with a wild beast, huh? Let's not get eaten.
Yeah.
You managed to avoid reacting to the specifics of that word, and head on to your way to the church. While, I mean, it could be anyone really. But yeah, you guys arrive in a fairly quiet chapel. There's a night kind of watch person, not really like a receptionist or anywhere, but just someone that's there to make sure nobody steals anything. And you guys, I imagine, ask if you can sit inside and, do what one does and think about what one thinks about in a holy place. And you are let in. There are no suspicious looks, which is amazing. You're used to those. This person just seems to be... Well, I mean, he says, yeah, just don't break or steal anything. But he doesn't say it with suspicion, more with like a warmth and a welcoming. He does have a rather threatening-looking nightstick, though. So.
Well, yeah, there's nothing that's inherently stopping me from going in. I'm talking more in the sense of like, vampires themselves aren't affected by anything holy, because I know there's
the only
well, what do you...
not that Nulai would have familiarity with this, but the only thing that can hurt a vampire is true faith, which is very rare. Like, it is emphasized how rare it is. It is someone who is like completely and purely devoted to a higher power. It doesn't have to be the Christian god or anything, but a unshakable belief that they are protected. A church itself
So the Pope, basically.
cannot have... Well, it depends on the Pope. The church itself, no matter what it is, cannot harm you in any way. But a person can, if they are the right sort of believer. The watch person that you met, hand didn't burn when you came near them, so you would be able to enter the chapel, which has nothing like overtly, again, like he's taking you to the sort of non-denominational place, so there's no like statue, there's no Jesus on a cross anywhere, something that might make a young vampire think, oh god. But it's, a typical place with like an altar and several rows of seats, and you could sit far in a back corner, or you could sit towards the front, and it's empty and not in use currently, but it's a free place to let your mind focus and feel connected to something if you try.
I think Nulai would kind of, sort of, just lead Daniel towards one of those corners. Not just try to like be kind of passively hidden, not really trying actively to hide, but just not to be at the forefront of everything.
Yeah. You go to the back left. To your left, there's like a glass full-length window, and then on the other side of that, you see a little garden. It's nice open. During the day, the light would come in from there, and you would be able to see the sun shining. Not you, but many people would, if they were alive. Right now, you just see the quiet night. It's comforting in a way.
You know, just being here, my mind is already slightly more at ease, I'd say.
I'm glad to hear it.
I don't know what it is about the atmosphere, but it's almost welcoming in a way.
For me, I think I like the idea of faith more than I like the faithful. Perhaps that's what pushed me away, is a lot of the
The rotten apples.
I have no doubt Joanne would spontaneously combust, but anyway, a lot of the pressures and guilts and so much of it is supposed to be about understanding and forgiveness and finding yourself, and yet it seems that once people feel as though they've understood and that they've found themselves, that they can then be better than everyone else.
It's always a competition.
So in a place like this, you can get away from that and focus on what it means to you. Perhaps find yourself without bothering anyone else. What is it that you think you're looking for?
I think in a way I'm looking for strength, I guess. Maybe not the right word, but resolve.
You've got plenty of that from what I saw, but
Well, I'm more talking about the mental strength, the resolve to
keep
keep
going.
my cool, to
Stay
keep
together.
going. Yeah.
Well, is there
keep it
something you're working
together.
towards? Something you think you will create or achieve or get a hold of?
I think resolve is what I need for self-improvement. And at this point, I feel like asking, I know it sounds kind of silly asking for it from a higher power, but it doesn't hurt to try, does it?
It's... well, I'd say yes, but the real answer is it won't hurt if you don't let it. This is the sort of thing where if you reach out and look for something and you feel like nothing's there, that might hurt. I won't lie, but you've got to find it. You've got to look carefully. You can ask, but I think really you got to find it within yourself. Still, a quiet place like this, maybe that's where you can see and hear what's in you most clearly. For a lot of people, it's a higher power that guides them there, and if that's what guides you, then that's good.
Nulai just closes his eyes and sort of instinctively just crosses his hands and, quietly starts whispering, praying to himself.
For a while, you do that. And there is the usual silence inside your mind. You feel what you imagine to be the shield that Celia, the mage, placed around your head that keeps the singing out. You feel that, and it is disappointing at first. You're hoping against hope that there is something out there listening, helping, guiding. And when you're just about to give up, you feel a little scratch inside your mind. A scratching around that shield. And it doesn't hurt. It sort of feels around. And then it kind of pokes. Like someone's tapping on your shoulder. Perhaps impatiently trying to get your attention. And you feel as though you could extend a questioning branch without necessarily breaking the shield around to see what is out there. Or you could stay inside.
I will explore.
The slightest hint of a familiar voice speaks a single word. Nulai? It is, to the best of Nulai's knowledge, Juliet.
Juliet?
You can barely hear her. I'm trying to reach you. I can't reach Joanne. I couldn't find either of you.
I'm here.
Are you whispering this or saying it in your brain?
It kind of comes out as very quiet whispers, considering
Okay.
he's essentially speaking into his hands.
You are not paying any attention to Daniel, but Daniel is kind of giving you your privacy. He's being there to be supportive, but he is not trying to listen to your whispers. He's assuming it's prayer. It's kind of almost whispery. It's, a lot of... I'm trying to state myself. I need help.
What can I do?
I'm in a dark place. There is something I need you to find.
What is it?
What comes is not a word, and again it's very hazy because you feel as though the shield is what is preventing you from seeing and hearing more clearly. You may choose to destroy it, but that is up to you. But it's not preventing you from seeing. you see a red crystal, like a... The shape is somewhat diamond, but it's red. It's like, you know, sort of ruby gemstone. It's kind of pulsing with a glow. And she says, "It is in..." And there is... You're not fully hearing what she's saying. Home. Someone's home. Home. You get the impression she is trying to tell you that it is in a person's home.
Whose home? Can't hear.
Keep the path you're going. Find it. You need to hold it and think of me. And that will help. And she asks a little more clearly, "Do you trust me?"
Trust you.
Find it. And you hear that a few times echoing, "Find it, find it, find it, find it, find it." And you feel as though she is not there anymore.
It's up to me. It's up to you, No Lie. You're in charge.
The image of this red glowing crystal stays in your head, and it gets clearer. But you don't know if that's necessarily because she is making it clearer, or more that you are just internalizing it more strongly. But you know that it is in someone's home, and she said to keep the path you are going.
I would like to use this moment to level up my resolve.
That makes sense.
I believe it is
That will-
10 XP to get to level 2.
Yes, and that will also... So you spend that, and you will also gain a point of willpower as a result. Because your willpower, I believe, is...
Yep.
your resolve plus 2 or something.
Yeah.
So you are now slightly better able to use your mind for things. Where there is a will, there is a way. So there is, 33% extra way. Congratulations. Alright, and after a while, when he thinks you're done, Daniel asks if you're alright. It sounded like you had a bit of a moment there.
I think I'm better.
Good.
Look, Daniel. Be honest with me. What do you like when you... What's your impression of me?
You seem a little lost. Like maybe you're not sure what you're doing or where you're going, and you have not a lot of faith that you're going to end up anywhere good, which I can understand. I relate to that quite a bit. But, I mean, the first thing you did with me was, protect me. So if that's not the mark of a good heart, I don't know what is.
Right. Yes, I have been, or ever since I came here, I feel like I've been living a lie. And I need you to trust me.
Sure thing.
If I told you that I was not human, how would you feel about that?
I think we all maybe feel that way sometimes. He's not really certain which direction that's going, but he's trying to be supportive.
In a more literal sense. What if I was no longer a human?
I would be confused by that, but I am sure that you are still kind and troubled. But that would not. Are you saying you consider yourself some sort of monster, or?
I wouldn't want to consider myself a monster. I still think like a human. It's just
there you go.
It's not really easy to explain. So.
Hey, we all got our demons.
No, I'm. Okay. I think we'll save plenty of time with a practical demonstration.
Yeah.
So, no matter what I say, do not give me your wallet, okay?
Right. Okay. I won't.
Now let me just look you into the eyes and focus my powers and say, give me your wallet.
Daniel calmly takes his wallet out of his pocket and hands it to you.
Do you understand me now?
What?
Look.
Well, that was a bit of mixed signals right there. Am I getting that back?
Yes, of course. So, like, I'm not a monster. Well, I don't want to be a monster.
Well, I mean,
Nurla hands it back.
I just assumed that there was something that you wanted with it. It seemed fine to me.
No, you.
He doesn't seem to have put together what has happened.
What just happened was that I used my powers, my supernatural powers, to control you.
Right.
And look, I want to trust you and all. So that which is why I am telling you that I am essentially supernatural. Yeah, we don't need to get into the technical details because if I told you what I really was, you'd be questioning your media knowledge and all that.
Well, you got the long hair, so I assume that you're the Sam rather than the Dean. if you're supernatural. Actually, I don't know if Nulai has the long hair, but you do.
Nulai has the little strain.
Yeah, there you go.
Straight. Look. To put it simply, I'm no longer human. I'm what we call a vampire, but not in the normal sense. And I'm not supposed to tell anybody about that. So, you know, like, this is a huge crime in our society for me to even tell you about this now. But, you know.
Well, I'm not going to tell the police.
This is the lie I've been carrying for the past couple of months now, or however long this has been going on. And
you know, I have the name of a wonderful therapist, and I would be happy to give you the details and send you a referral. She really does know how to talk to people and understand.
Sure. If that makes you feel better.
No. I just mean, like, I'm happy to listen to whatever you have to say. I just don't know how qualified I am necessarily.
I'm not asking for your help. I was more hoping to just vent in a way.
Well, certainly that's fine.
But
I'm not scared if that's what you're worried about. I'm not about to run away screaming and throwing water at you. Garlic.
See, I told you that's just your media knowledge. That doesn't actually work on us. But, you know, the more I think about this, like, looks back into Daniel's eyes. I think we should just forget this happened.
His eyes widen a little. And when you look away, he just stares out for a little while. He turns his head to you and he says, Did that help?
Yeah. Thanks.
Did you contact any sort of higher power?
I think I found something within myself, yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Thanks. You're a great friend, Daniel. Even if I
not so bad yourself.
Sometimes fuck up your name.
You wouldn't be the first, Noodle.
Okay, and now you're just messing with me.
Well,
that's okay. You make up your names for me, and I make up my names for me.
Well. Should we draw that to a close?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I got all I needed from this, so...
You found some
Thanks.
resolve, you found some catharsis, and you found some kind of information which may or may not become relevant very soon. Okay. The night draws to a close on our sleeping coterie. And as the new night dusks, we have a roll of rouse checks to see how everybody fared waking up, whether they got hungrier or not. Katya, the question of whether you get to be full for a little while longer. That's... oh, here it is. Katya remains full, but the other two will have to move up to hunger 2 or 3, or where's Nulai at? Because you didn't eat.
I was at 1 now. I'm at 2.
Okay, so 2 for Joanne and Nulai. None for Katya. It is stunning to wake up sated. It is not something that, I mean, it's not, it's happened before. You're one of the older ones, but it is very, very disconcerting, and it just it feels good. Your beast is quiet, but the very fact of that reminds you of why.
Actually, I think I was supposed to rouse check on using the dominant power.
Probably. Mesmerize, yes. Forget. Well, if you use mesmerize and not compel, then yes. Yeah, but not for the memory one. Okay, so you're even hungrier than that. You're at 3.
Hell yeah.
You are feeling like you could do with a drink. All right. So, to the meeting with Jezebel, I imagine. And you bring broken old preformed eye Mikhail with you. He is grumbly and grouchy, but he's willing to rally. Let's go for different music. Let's do... okay. So you head over to a nondescript street corner. I don't really need to go into more detail than that. You see that the tag that you made previous night is gone. It's been removed. Hopefully that is something they did when they acknowledged it, not something that was done to prevent you from having a meeting. But the 4 of you head into the alley, and as you head down it, you don't see much. It's a quiet 2 walls, heads down into the darkness. There is a dumpster on one side. There's no sign of a Nosferatu. Does anybody call out or do anything immediate?
Well, big guy. What now?
Looking to Mikhail for thoughts.
Yeah.
Jersey!
Joanne, if you're speaking, you're on mute.
Jezebel! What did Joanne say? Anything important?
I was saying we should ask Mikhail.
Okay. Don't make me do this to you. Okay. He looks around for something suitable. Next to the dumpster, he finds a little piping thing you can just grab. And he smacks the dumpster. And it's not a full thwack because he is still injured, but it's a solid little doof, doof, doof. And as he does so, you hear a thudding from within the dumpster, and ah! Muffled. And then the little lid opens, and a form springs out, lands, lithely, covered in garbage. The form of the Nosferatu Primogen, one of the most powerful Camarilla kindred in the city, Jezebel, who has never entered any sort of scene uneventfully in her life. Or death. She groans and wipes this banana peel on her head, which she takes off. Mikey! I told you not to call me that. You tell me a lot of things I don't listen to. They got you back. Yes. You look like shit. You smell like shit. Put us together and we make a politician. And of course, Your Royal Temporary Majesty. You wanted my attention. I don't live there, by the way. It was easier to sleep there when I found it. I found that before the sun came up, so I thought, fuck it.
Improvisation. Why not?
What can I do for you this fine evening? And of course, again, remember, Jezebel is bald, flaky skin, very dirty at the minute, dirtier than you saw her at the club the last time, but not terribly mutated and certainly better looking than Mikhail right now. One of the Nosferatu for whom the ugly stick was lighter-handed, maybe. Except for the no hair and the flakes. The nose ain't too bad. Mikhail's a mess before the lion. But yeah, she asks why we're here. She's got no clue.
Well, if I may elaborate.
That's usually the next step.
Where is somewhere underground that nobody goes?
Nobody as in except for us, or nobody, because people don't tend to go underground much.
Like nobody. Like, you don't go there because maybe you don't know that something is there, or because you don't think it's a good idea to go there. Just, any of...
I would imagine, if you're asking me how many places there are underground that I don't know about, anywhere from 0 to infinity.
Well, specifically...
There is an operative term as to why I can't answer that any clearer, and it's the part where I don't know.
Well, specifically in Shadeport.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you about a Ugandan cave, am I?
You might. You strike me as an interesting person.
Kyle just sort of sighs behind. We are looking for something. Something that perhaps our prince was looking for once upon a time. Oh, you... You guys are you guys are chasing after the kook stuff, right?
What stuff?
They're like sacred temple shit.
Yeah, sacred temple shit. That's one way to refer to it.
Oh, you're not telling me. You're not telling me that our prince wandered off to... No. She got taken, right? Like there was a whole
yeah.
like violent. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I thought you'd know more than me. And she points to Mikhail. Let me just. Okay. I get it. The Nosferatu image. We're sewer goblins. We populate underneath the city. There's one of us around every corner. We know every secret tunnel from the dockside to the hills. We have our own little underground connective cabinet. We all cavern system. We all live under there. There's mazes and secret chocolate fountains and everything is known to all of us at all times, and we're all one big happy family. Okay, first of all, not quite like that. I do not know that many of us live underground. Quite a few of us do not like stereotypes. I have a nice house that you will never see. But we're all capable of roughing it, and some of us do. We have our spaces where we gather. Some of those are underground, yeah. Doesn't smell nice, but it gets the job done, and you don't get any smooth-faced bastards poking their heads around, and suddenly we have to make up an excuse that we're having a Walking Dead convention. So.
It's a clever excuse.
A couple months back, your prince did call upon me, much as does you today, to ask if my clan knows about it. Secret, ancient temple lurking beneath the city with some horrible, too old, too scary thing gets talked about in whispers round corners. The magic types are interested in, that everybody should stay away from it. Yeah, sure, it's just, that shit goes back 100 years. As long as this city has been here. Anybody found it? Not that I know of. Do people look for it all the damn time? Usually for fun, or because there's something not here where there should be. No offense to the Malkavians. But there is one, Nosferatu. I think she was an archaeologist back when her skin was smooth and her teeth weren't as sharp, who at the time was always talking about the delving that she was doing, about the hunting that she was doing, trying to find what was really going on in this city. And of course, when we get together, everybody talks a lot of shit. We listen to each other's shit to a point, but then we get impatient because we want to talk our own shit. So I can't say to you or to Juliet that I really know everything that Marilyn was up to, but I told Juliet to talk to Marilyn, and that's the last I heard, and that was quite a while ago, long before she went missing, long before Marilyn stopped showing up to all of our gatherings, which was a couple weeks ago. That was before we lost our prince and everything. Marilyn I haven't seen in a while, but last few times I saw her, she was jittery.
Jittery and never good.
You say Marilyn. Yeah, Marilyn. Like Monroe, but not nearly as pretty. Kyle thinks.
So more like Manson?
She'd probably hit you. If she's still alive, so to speak. Hey, Kyle thinks. He sort of shakes his head. Not one of the ones I really knew. No. She kept to herself. She'd show up occasionally, maybe once out of every 3 or 4 gatherings that we had. Mostly just so that she had that sense of still having a clan, Nobody really wants to be on their damn own out here, but she was close enough to it. As far as I can tell, it was just that adventurous curiosity that led her in search. I don't know about any of this what's happening, brainwashing cult shit that supposedly took our prince. She doesn't know about the monster, but she does know everything that was said at the meeting 2 weeks ago, which was still the cult. We have the doctor. How'd that go, by the way? Your doctor man, is he dead now? Did you get? Oh, he would have told you about the temp. Ah, shit, it's real, isn't it? Fuck! Sorry, mind went pretty quick there.
Oh, that's
My instincts are firing all across the board right now. Would you have any idea where we might be able to find this Marilyn? Or how?
Kyle, do you see that there? Do you see that face she is making where she looks like she needs to take a shit but can't get it out of her ass? That is her yes, I have the answers you're looking for, but no, giving them to you would be bad face. Mikey!
In which case, I don't know if this changes the equation for you, but We have intel that suggests there is a Nosferatu in this city who has perhaps turned by the cult.
Well, we all got turned. Oh!
What you're telling me suggests strong possibilities.
Look. Yeah, he's right. I know where she rests her head, or at least where she tells me she does. It's where she spends every night. I don't know, but, I'm in charge. I do know where a lot of my clan can be found. That's just part and parcel with how that shit works. Thing is, and yes, I know that you come representing the prince, but, clan, family versus the whole kit and caboodle. For me to just, tell you where someone lives, kinda... We don't do elections, but the next time the Nosferatu gather, they might say, hey, you know that leader that we put in charge to talk to the prince and stuff? She's selling us out. How about we sell her out? By tying her to a roof and waiting for the sun to rise.
Do you remember her saying anything about where she was looking? Just in the way of passing on gossip? Not selling anyone out?
I mean, she was going through a lot of places. It was a different place every time I spoke to her, but she never said that she'd found it or that she'd made that progress. Maybe that's the difference between when she started showing up and when she stopped. She always had her head in the book. She was always writing. Best I can tell is that if she has left anything behind for you to follow her trail, then it's gonna be at her fucking house. Jesse. It is very likely, as they say, she has joined up with the people who kidnapped the prince. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. But you're not the only Nos here. I can go to those meetings too. I can speak in your favor. What's that? You're gonna do me a favor, Mikey? No! I said speak in your. Well, no. We're talking. We can make a bargain. Fucking shitting bastard. Remember when you invited me to this meeting, Joanne?
I vaguely recall. It might have been.
I wish you had not. He beckons Jezebel, and the two of them just sort of. He says, "Give me a moment with my imagined third cousin." There is primal whispering going on far away. It's very quick. You hear Mikhail swear and you hear Jezebel giggle. They come back before long. She will be willing to tell you where to go. Hey, I'm always willing to tell people to fuck off. Not what I meant. That is about all I can help you with tonight, though, as my insides are on fire. And my outsides are worse.
That is concerning.
Yeah, that is. Jezebel just, finds that very amusing, but when she's back to herself, she says, okay, so good news, I know where you can investigate. Bad news, you're probably not gonna like it. I said before, I don't like stereotypes, right? They make me uneasy. They make me feel not particularly original or unique. Marilyn doesn't seem to give a shit. For as long as I have been in contact with her, the place to find Marilyn is under a mausoleum. No, I'm not gonna take you there. But I can tell you which cemetery it is, and hang on. She rummages in the dumpster, and then she pulls out a key. This will prevent you from having to climb a fence and or break down a gate.
Oh, very kind.
If she's dead, I don't need it back. If she's alive, I do. Unless she's evil. If she's evil, I probably don't need it back.
Cool.
I'd wish you luck.
Do you believe in luck?
Well, I don't know what luck is. Luck could be finding her, or it could be not finding her, so I don't know what to wish for.
Fair point.
I would like to go have a shower now. Are there any other questions?
I mean, I'd ask what her general disposition is, but I feel like that's probably not the same. Since, you know, she's brainwashed and all.
Marilyn?
I guess we...
Like I said, the last time I saw her, she was jittery. She didn't sleep much, which is weird for us. But that probably means she was spending pretty much all her time underground, where you don't really have to be asleep during the day. The urge is over goddamn whelming, but if you can push through that... She's... The last time I saw her, she wasn't really talking either. She wasn't talking about it. I asked her, you know, how's the search going? And she didn't want to say much. Perhaps this change, if you're right, if your theory's right, and it's her, she's the one that's been... By the way, if you're not right, who the fuck on my clan is... I might have to do some auditing. But hopefully it's her. That way I don't get into trouble for this.
And she is slightly less than friendly, which I imagine she would probably be. Is there anything we should know about, like, her abilities? I'm not particularly excited about fighting in Nosferatu, but, you know,
I wouldn't
if
recommend
I have
it.
to, I don't want to die.
I would recommend it. Unless you're a lion. Unless you're a lion. Well, the things that we're usually known for. And we're not all known for all of the same things. And he can tell you. Sneaking around. Not being seen. This is one of them. Some of us are strong. Some of us are not. And occasionally some of us are good with the animals, but not in the same way you types are, points at Katya. We tend to prefer the crawlers, the smaller ones. I think Marilyn was one of them. She was always covered up. So... No. Mikhail just sort of shudders a bit. I don't really want to... Look,
bugs?
she...
I really hate
Underground, lots of insects crawling around. You may get attacked by bugs.
bugs. Ugh.
Good luck.
Alright.
That's if she's there, and if she's evil. She might be a perfectly happy, dead vampire who fell over and decapitated herself on a stalagmite or something in the caves while she was digging. No brainwashing,
feel
just
like?
brain smashing. You don't know.
That would be great.
So anyway,
Well,
I
not
can
great
wish
for
you
her,
luck
but
now.
great.
I can wish that you don't get eaten by a bug.
Okay, that's a great wish. I'll take that. I'll take that.
She starts walking away. Does anybody stop her?
I don't have any questions myself now.
You've been given directions to one of Shadeport's cemeteries, and interestingly, Shadeport has a couple. It's a big city. Mikhail will not be joining you. He wishes he could. He's very annoyed that he can't, but he is well aware of his current physical capabilities, and it's like, yeah, no, it's going to be like a fair few days, if not a week or two, before he is ready to be half of what he normally is.
Can Nulai bend Mikhail's ear for a moment?
Nulai reaches out, grabs Mikhail by the ear and twists it. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? No, okay, I assume that was metaphorical, and I will not make that a character action.
Mikhail, you wouldn't happen to know anything about a red gemstone by any chance?
In relation to?
Not in relation to anyone possessing one.
Juliet had jewelry. I don't know anything about her. She might have had a ruby ring, but she also might not have. I don't particularly give much of a shit about jewelry. I don't find myself going to fancy parties very often, and the last time I did, it was a shit show and I nearly died.
I imagine that'll put one off parties.
Fair enough. I just wondered about all the magical artifacts of this world. I mean, you already saw me with the green orb.
There are definitely no end to the amount of magical bullshits and trinkets and pains in my ass out there to be found. But am I an expert on any of that? No. Do you see me walking up to Katya and asking her about the finest and latest in fashion? Do you see me walking up to Jacob and asking him about how to win friends and influence people?
If you're talking about the book, then maybe.
I wish you luck in finding your gemstone friend. But I don't know fuck shit about it.
Wait,
That's worth a shot.
can we hear this conversation?
I don't know, can you? What did Nulai do?
I mean, I assume it was like I didn't pull him out anywhere, so I would say so.
Okay, so what if we asked Knife Daddy?
Yusuf?
Yes.
Well, I mean, at this point, Nulai's just randomly brought up a crystal out of nowhere as far as you're concerned, so do you ask him about that, or do you leave it as his business?
Well, I would suggest to him to, talk to Yusuf.
Okay.
If anybody would know, he might. Seems like he would be the kind of person to know where mysterious red gems could be found.
The daggers that he wielded did have jewels encrusted all along, as did Sapphire, whose dagger was kind of pretty much the same thing, because no doubt she got it from him.
Plus, they're super mysterious, like occult people, so seems like a logical deduction.
You could make phone calls, or you could head to the cemetery.
Oh, Nulai?
I'm fine with either. I'm just following my natural instinct.
Well, why don't we swing by, Yusuf, on our way to said mausoleum?
You could call him. You wouldn't necessarily know where to go. Again,
Right.
you could drag people's houses out of them.
Not at the top of Burj Khalifa.
No. But it's a number that everyone would have now, considering he has interacted with you a bit more rather than just Joanne. So if Nulai wanted to ask Yusuf about red gems, he could, or if Joanne wanted to ask on Nulai's behalf. But that's up to you.
You don't have to worry about my mysteries. I'm not trying to hide anything, but I'm not trying to impede the process of whatever the hell we're doing right now either. You lead, I'll follow.
Okay, cemetery or is a phone call happening? A decision would be awesome. If no one is specifically making a phone call, we are going to the cemetery.
To the cemetery we go?
We are going to the cemetery. Okay.
I can think of a few more appropriate things to do on Halloween than go to a cemetery.
And presumably, again, just in terms of like how travel is happening, I assume that Jacob has hooked you up with a driver in a car, and that's what you're doing because Flynn is the one who drives, and Flynn ain't there. Because that's just sort of in the background. Like there is a person, ghoul perhaps, connected to the Camarilla, who is just quietly driving you places.
So whose idea was it to send Flynn away again?
In universe, no one's really out of universe. Well, not really our business. All right, so let me change to cemetery music.
Ooh. That's very cemetery. I like it.
You pull up. It is a I'll say mid-sized. It's not this gigantic like place. It's also not, it's not small. You walking from one end of the graveyard to the other would take quite a while. It is vast, cold, and dark, and there's a few sort of hill areas, and you can see the mausoleum structure, a big grey building, a fair way away. You can also see towards the front, as you arrive at the gate, there's a smaller sort of gate place where someone would man it, but there's no one there right now. And there's probably another smaller sort of homestead looking place fairly close by, which might have undertaker, gravekeeper, whatever. There's a light on in there, but nobody comes out or anything. The gate itself has a padlock, and you have a key that is supposed to open it.
Okay. We attempt to open it.
It works. Padlock comes off, and you are able to slide the gate open with a. It's large, like it would fit cars. You would drive in, and because it's it's a graveyard, funeral processions and such. There's roads in there, because they tend to be fairly large.
The vampire was creeped out by a creaking gate in the cemetery.
And yes. And you see the traditional rows of tombstones. You see areas where you've got just the little plates in the ground for the people who have normal person incomes, and then you see the larger tombstones for the bastards. Increasingly levels of unnecessary size and pomp.
Necrobling.
Yeah. Flowers placed at several of them. You could walk around looking at tombstones all night if you wanted. As you arrive, as you guys walk across, I assume that you walk across the threshold of the gate. Does anybody not do that? Yeah.
I imagine.
The three of you just as you cross through the gate, you feel a sort of a little bit of a shiver. And Nula, you feel another tapping on the shield. And you don't hear anything if you reach out to it. You don't hear anything trying to communicate with you as such. But you just feel a sense of correctness. This is correct. This is the way to go. And you look around and there's not much here. There's no one visiting a grave right now, but there's lots of tombstones, and you see a mausoleum where Marilyn perhaps keeps a lair or a haven that will be quite a walk away. Does anybody comment on or react to the shiver at all, or do you just keep going in?
I would probably comment and be like, ugh, I know this is probably an oxymoron, but is anyone else freaked out by this?
No.
Did you just say no?
Nope. I'm good. Love it here. No.
I've seen my share of graveyards, but they don't usually feel quite so unwelcoming.
Yeah.
I've got
Very
a feeling
cold.
in my gut we're doing the
So
right
it's
thing.
not
here.
all in my head here.
As you begin to take steps forward, and you don't feel like running, slowly a kind of mist fog begins to just creep in. Not at the edges, it's sort of around you. It doesn't seem to be clinging to you like a cartoon rain cloud over the head, but just the whole area just seems to slowly get a little bit misty. Your long distance vision is getting a little bit worse, step by step.
It's very unsettling.
Head further in the general direction of the mausoleum.
I think Nulai would react to that by enhancing his sense of sight.
Yeah, you're able to pierce through the fog to a point, and you as you look around, you do not see any intruders, any lurkers, anything else. You feel still quite alone in this cemetery. Meant to make that quiet, not mute. Here. As you reach a crossroads, and there's a road down to the left and a road down to the right taking you closer towards the mausoleum, near to where the hill is. That's when all three of you hear it. Nulai and Joanne. In fact, I think all of you heard this before, at the very least, when you were heading to Crimson's house before it was taken away. You hear a voice, and the voice is singing. But the voice is not in your head. It is the same person, same haunting male voice. But the voice seems to echo from the gravestones themselves and rise up in the area. And it is slow as it starts to sing. Behind a curtain of towering pines, the sun settling red, a city hidden high in the hills comes out to honor the dead. You stop and you look around, and those gravestones, there's a shimmering out from the dirt, the ground in front of every tombstone that you can see. A transparent figure of some sort begins to rise up. Many of them are elderly. Some of them are not. You can see through them. They are vacantly staring, and they are upright. They don't, pop from the ground in a lying down position, but they sort of rise, head and shoulders. They're not standing rigidly, but they look dazed, and for the best that you can imagine, they are ghosts, they are spirits, they are the forms of those who were in the holes. Families somberly walk through the town. They build altars and pray, clean the tombs and clutch rosaries, and speak of better days. Their feet fully emerged. Together they turn. And each and every one of them, all around you in a circle, is looking towards where the three of you are standing. They haven't moved yet. But they are all vacantly staring towards you. You guys are on a road, so there are none especially close. Does anybody make any sort of movement here, or are you just observing what's going on?
You lead, I'll follow.
I'm very freaked out. This is extremely weird. Do we make a dash? I don't know if we're... What if we accidentally actually find the whole ass temple on like the first try? I feel like that would be a mistake.
Every ghost in the cemetery takes a step forward. From the edge of the island, they ferry back to the shore. Another step forward. They climb
Let's be on our way, shall we?
under their covers and pray a little more.
Yeah.
They are
I think
walking
we need to...
in earnest.
And I think we should find a certain dapper old lady and maybe just inquire as to whether or not we are going batshit crazy or if this is some physical phenomenon.
You intend to
But
head
for now,
home?
let's hightail it the fuck out of here.
Get out of the
and
cemetery?
go find Celia. Yeah.
As that is stated, Nulai, that tapping around your shield feels a lot less like a tap and a lot more like something is grabbing. And you hear it again. You hear, "Head inside. This is where you should be."
So, I guess we're going inside then?
That's what your brain is telling you. Joanne wants to leave.
Oh, I'm definitely leaving. I'm not going in there. Are you nuts?
I mean, why did we come here?
So,
We came
are we
here
like
to investigate,
outside?
not die.
Do we know like this is the exact tomb that we're looking for that we must enter, or?
There is one main mausoleum in this cemetery, and everything else is outdoor gravestones. So this is the place that Jezebel said you should go, and she said that Marilyn makes a home for herself underneath that building. So that is the building to go to. You are currently at a crossroads, and around about the middle of the graveyard, you can head further towards that mausoleum and head inside. Or you can go back to that gate and get out.
I'm walking towards the mausoleum.
Ghosts have continued to walk towards you, but they are not walking on the road. Many of them have stopped along the edges of those roads. They have walked onto the other part of the crossroads, one that leads just deeper into cemetery, and they have sort of formed a ghost wall, arm against arm. Though, Katia, if you've perhaps encountered a ghost before, you're reasonably certain that a ghost wall does not stop a living flesh creature from going through it, unless they want to. So they are essentially sort of like they're like flanking you, staring at you, and while the singing voice continues, Katia goes towards the mausoleum. Nulai seems to want to as well, or at least I can tell you that your brain wants you to, or whatever you hear wants you to.
Look, Joanne, I have no intention of backing out here. You're free to go if that's what you want, but we came here to solve this thing. Look,
No,
you
did
can
not
come back
here
here
to solve
tomorrow
this thing.
and
we
pick up.
came here to investigate. I think you're batshit crazy.
And what are you gonna do after you've investigated? Are you gonna go get some help from Mikhail? Oh wait, he's not in fighting fit at all. Look,
we have more allies than Mikhail.
Every single spirit in the cemetery raises an arm and points towards the mausoleum.
Oh wow, y'all.
well, you really aren't helping me make my case here.
Have you watched any horror movies ever? Are you familiar with how people die? This is how you die. You follow the ghostly fingers. That's how you die. And if we die, nobody can fix anything.
I'm following what Juliet is telling me to do. Well, now I said it.
That's a interesting statement to make.
Wait, so you tell me you're not hearing Juliet?
No, I'm not hearing Juliet. Are you sure you're hearing Juliet? Because I'm pretty sure Juliet would also not want us to die.
Juliet is telling me to get into fucking mausoleum.
And I'm saying you're a fucking idiot. Juliet would want us to prepare carefully. Juliet would never say rush into a mausoleum with ghostly armies about it unprepared. That's not Juliet, that's something else.
Question, Gav. No one is, as far as we can tell, standing between us and our goal.
No.
Well, I'm marching onwards.
Nothing.
I got a job to do, and I'm going to do it.
Yeah, if Katia
unless
is
somebody
ignoring
physically stops me.
if Katia is ignoring the argument and walking into that mausoleum, nothing will stop you, and you will get there in like a minute or so if no one follows.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
y'all are crazy. Look, this is how we all die.
Again, I'm not stopping you from running away. You can you can be the Laurie Strode of this Halloween film. You can be the sole survivor. You can be Sarah Connor if that's what you want.
It's a good deal. Everybody
you can
wants
come
to
back
be Linda Hamilton or Jamie Lee Curtis. Go on.
What has possessed the two of you, honestly? If Flynn were here, she'd say you're idiots.
Possibly, but she says that all the time.
That would just make me want to go in there even more. Look. I'm sorry to say this, but right now
Let's call Celia, just very quickly, and ask her if she knows anything about weird ghostly forms and mausoleums that beckon to you. And if she goes, no, that seems completely normal, definitely go inside, then we'll go inside. If she goes, sounds like a trap laid by an ancient creature of nightmares, then maybe we don't go inside. How does that sound?
You're free to call her, but yeah, I think Katia is not gonna be waiting for that. So
yeah, Katia is going to.
If I have to secure one of you right now, I think I have to secure the one who you think is more in danger.
Okay, at this point, Katia is at the entrance of the mausoleum. It is open. There is no like door or anything. It's just an open building. You can see caskets and like rows of sealed boxes of bodies, and if you don't stop, you will enter it very soon. Joanne can call Celia if that is what you want to do. Nulai can follow after Katia or stay with Joanne and keep arguing, but
I'm gonna call Celia.
Okay.
As I follow them in and just be like, hey, for the record, we're here. This is a dumb fucking idea, and these two idiots are gonna get us all killed. But hey, if you want to find our bodies, this is where we're gonna be.
You have no service.
Oh, crap.
You can go outside if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, I feel like that is what I want to do.
Nulai, which of them do you follow?
Katia.
Okay. We'll tackle the two groups in turn. Katia and Nulai, as you enter this mausoleum, it is open and said. Katia gets there first, of course. Nothing jumps out or anything, as far as you can tell. The ghosts are watching. The singing has not continued for a while. The ghosts moved when the song happened. Whenever the song, advanced, so to speak, the ghosts would take another step or raise their hands or whatever. So you can, I guess, begin searching walls and searching corners to see if you can find any sign of Marilyn's thing. But let's look at Joanne. Do you just take a leisurely walk, or are you like, nah, fuck this, I'm going, and run for the gate?
I'm walking briskly, because you never run. That's how you die. You trip on a stick and impale yourself.
The ghosts are lining the walls of that, or the edges of the road, and are watching you. Their heads turn as you move, their arms sort of keep pointing.
Oh, that's creepy.
As the singing chimes in again. In this ancient city of stones, they sigh and bow their heads. The living seem rather, well, dead. And the ghosts are slowly shaking their head at you. As you arrive at the gate, where you left the gate open, you walk. Imagine you walk normally, just, briskly with your head up, walking through that gate. Your face smacks into something and you stumble down. As you get to your feet, you place your hands out. You can't see it, but you are feeling a wall where the gate is, where the opening to leave is. There is just this hard barrier.
Got to be shitting me. And there's still no service?
Oh no. Your nose is a little bit bruised. You didn't slam your head into it, but you... Oof. Or really, if you were walking like that, you probably punched it or hit your knee.
Yeah. Okay, so... Oh, crap.
You can still see outside. You can see your car. You can probably shout to the driver.
I would try. Wave at him.
Confused, gets out of the car and heads towards you. Ask, yes. Yes, do you need anything?
I tell him to call Mr. Crimson.
He asks for the number. You don't give your driver Crimson's number. Crimson or Celia? Crimson specifically?
Would have to think carefully about this. No. Crimson's number.
As he tries to listen to what you're saying, he sort of walks forward, and as he attempts to cross the threshold, same thing happens to him. He's like, what the... He's a ghoul, so he's not, completely supernaturally in the dark, but the driver's confused. So, sorry, who is he calling? Crimson? Or
Celia.
Celia, okay.
Sorry, I did say Crimson.
You said that at first. Either one.
Yeah.
You can call Celia. Calls her, puts her on speaker, and you relate what's happening. And she simply says, "You saw the ghosts after you walked in. You walked into the cemetery at the middle of the night before you saw the ghosts, right?"
Yeah.
Okay, so you're not complete fools.
No, but it would seem that two of my companions are. Because despite the ghosts, they have, well...
Something wants you there. It wants you to enter the mausoleum. If your friends are inside, you can join them or you cannot. I will be by and see if I can do anything about the barrier and let you out. But you will have to hold on.
I don't... Oh.
I can't do anything from a distance.
For all intents and purposes, if you think this is more dangerous than it appears, and it does appear to be fairly dangerous, right? Like an idiot would know that this is probably not the greatest situation to be in.
This is not typical behavior of spirits. They tend not to act as automatons. They tend to be individual or a small number of creatures with unfinished business, souls that, for whatever reason, were not able to pass on. To rise from the grave, that is the action of a zombie, not that of a ghost. I am not sure that what you are seeing are spirits. I believe what you may be seeing are illusions.
Well,
if you would like to reach out and touch one and tell me what happens, I could give you more information, but you may not wish to give that a shot.
I mean, how risky is it?
That depends on whether they are illusions or not.
Oh, God. Okay. Well, I tell you what.
Real spirits would have the ability to possess your body, if they chose.
Woo!
So they tend to prefer mortals for this.
Vampire, no, but if a spirit would act of its own, like, would a spirit be controlled by, like, could they do that? And then, you know, like, possess...
There is, generally speaking, no limits to the ability of a creature that old.
That is wild.
Each of them tend to develop their own unique capabilities, oftentimes which we have never seen before. However, as I say, for it to be the entire graveyard all at once, this is very likely a light show put on for your discomfort.
Okay, well, I would say, I'm gonna touch a ghost.
You reach out. Whoosh. Your hand goes right through, as though it is not there. You do not feel anything. Same as if you'd put your hand just out like this, through the ghost's body. Do you tell Celia that?
There's an invisible wall preventing me from leaving, and visible ghosts that aren't actually there. I feel like...
Did you feel a cold shudder as your hand passed the place where the ghost occupied?
No.
Then it's not a ghost.
Okay, so we have illusions and invisible walls. Nulai was rambling on about Juliet being in his head and telling him where to go.
No one should be in his head.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Where is he now? What is he doing? No, Joanne, you must understand.
Into the mausoleum.
Get after him!
Oh, God. Okay, well, before I do that, do you know anything about a red crystal? Supposedly something important to this Juliet or something?
I believe it may be too late. Click! At this point, Joanne, you hear the sound of stone moving as that open mausoleum begins to close.
Oh, crap.
Nulai and Katia,
run?
you can run for them if you like, but it's going to be a while. We need to look at what Nulai and Katia were doing that time. I imagine that you were, like, searching for signs of Marilyn's hovel.
I'll look for any sign of habitation.
Okay. Well,
And of course, since the person we're looking for is, they don't necessarily have any reason to, well, I suppose we are breaking and entering, but That doesn't mean we can't be polite and ask if anybody's home while we're at it.
The mausoleum has a few chambers. There's the main one that you enter, and there's a couple side chambers. You mostly just see closed caskets and coffins on rows and shelves. Cobwebs. The place is, old and dusty and disused. You can make investigation checks to see if you find anything secret, anything that can be pulled or pushed that would create more space, but you don't see anything that looks like someone lives there. So both of you are able to make investigation and intelligence rolls to see if you find anything in the time in which Joanne is having this chat with Celia. Nulai, though, as you enter the mausoleum, you are distracted by the tapping on your mind and thoughts of encouragement and positivity from Juliet saying, "It is here, it is here." You cannot see it, but it is here.
Investigation's not my forte, but if I can roll, I might as well roll.
Alternatively, you could start popping open caskets if you wanted to do that instead.
Sure, why not?
We are close. I can feel it.
So yeah, you can be looking at like walls and for hidden things, or you can be looking at corpses. Pick one.
I'll look at the corpses. I've seen a few in my time. It's no big deal.
The stone slabs of some of these things are hard to lift, but a few of them are just the more traditional coffin. You have the strength, and you mostly see skeleton bodies and other bodies in stages of rot, but for the most part these are the long dead. You get the impression that the mausoleum is kind of a relic of the past. They never tore it down, but most people get buried these days. So you're doing that quite methodically, I suppose, for a while. Nulai, did you want to roll or just check passively?
Yeah, let's roll.
Okay. That'll be investigation and intelligence. Hit the investigation button and add your intelligence. That's a lot of hunger dice. That is 2 successes, which is enough for me to not give you the full-on bestial failure, but it's not necessarily enough for you to uncover the whole secrets of the entire place. But what you do find is a little indentation on the floor on the chamber in the right, where there's just a part of the floor that's a little lower, and it looks like perhaps a trap door. Perhaps it was dug up and replaced. The stone is a bit different. You feel as though this could open, but you don't know how to open it. And it's while you two are doing all that exploring that you are hearing stone shifting. And if you turn your head to look at the entrance you came, you will see that the sides are beginning to close on you, and the mausoleum is shutting. As Joanne begins to run. Do the two of you try to get out, or do you accept this?
Well, I found something, but I'm not sure if we have the time to investigate this.
Define something.
There's like an indentation here. I mean, it could be a trap door, could be a secret door, could be a...
I'll walk right over and step on it.
It's rather...
I was gonna suggest throwing a rock on it, but sure.
Stepping on it doesn't seem to cause anything that you would expect from a pressure plate. It is large enough that if it were removed, you feel like a ladder or like a tunnel or something. You'd be able to go down. Stepping on it mostly just seems to like it. Maybe it clanks a little. You feel like it,
Let's haul it up then.
You need any help?
Do I?
Joanne, meanwhile, is making an athletics dex check to see if you can sprint to this closing doorway. which you may
You're
do.
muted.
An athletics dex check is not the best skill set for you at all. Breathlessly, you arrive at the entrance of this mausoleum, just in time to see the 2 stone slabs. And you can see your friends. Very well, not really, because they're around the right chamber, but you could maybe shout in at them briefly before you are cut apart from them. Or not. Are you muted?
Yeah.
I would shout, there is definitely danger, please be careful.
It's fairly heavy stone. You would be worried if you had to breathe at being in there at this point, but you guys don't. So, you're looking around at this pressure plate. Oh, not pressure plate, but you're looking around at this indentation, and you're not seeing a good leverage point there. Then you're interrupted.
Do we see anything? Do we see anything thin that we can jam into it?
Potentially, but your attention is first distracted by the return of the voice, louder and echoey now, off of all of the walls. You don't know which. You wouldn't be able to pin down a location, and Joanne, you can hear it as well, but muffled from the other side. It's a bit more intent now. The sun is down, the earth shakes, the wind doth howl, and I'm making moves all across the park. We're stirring in the dark, and you hear a creak. The caskets squeak, the trees wheeze, the crypts all creak, and toes sepulchered for months and months in dust are wiggling off their crust. Wow. More creaks and thuds, and the caskets that you didn't open are starting to move. Shed your shroud, slip your fingertips through the ground. Get those catacombs open, I'm hoping you'll join us. Everybody come on out now. And as we swap to some more intense music, see if I can find something good. You are looking around as the ones that you opened, the occupants are sitting up, and the ones that you didn't open appear to be figuring out a way to open themselves, and there is some problems coming.
So, to New Life's question, is there anything clearly crowbar-like that one might use to find a way onto this plate in a hurry?
Did they leave a crowbar in the mausoleum? That's a good question. No.
If I have to smash something just for a
You think
makeshift
your
object,
knife
I'm
is
prepared to
problem?
do that.
Okay. There are a few trinkets and things that people have perhaps placed with their dead loved ones. Perhaps there's stuff to find in the caskets, but there's a lot of little, like... There are actually some like pots
Let's try this.
and little bowls and little things like this, like old looking coins. Different shelves have different things next to the caskets, but there's nothing that you would think of as a weapon.
I have a knife.
Till...
I always have a knife.
Yes, you do. until you look around at
Think
some
your
of
map is
these
strong enough.
shambling skeleton corpses that are getting up out of their rests. And a few of them seem to be holding, blunt objects and bladed weapons, and one of them has a long pry bar looking thing that might do the job. But you do have a knife.
So I'm gonna try to use my knife, wedge it open enough to get a handhold under it, and then hopefully haul it open.
Okay. That will be a strength check. We'll just use brawl for it because it's a feat of power. Melee is what you would use if you were attacking someone with a weapon, but really you're just trying to shove real hard. The skeletons do not look as friendly as the ghosts. Nulai, as Kadir is working on this, a lot of them are in the other chamber, but there are ones in this chamber, and there is one that was like right the fuck next to you, and this skeleton is not armed, but it is going to claw at you with skeleton hands, and is basically just trying to grab you. Do you have any intent to deal with this?
Well, I don't think they have eyes that I can look into.
No, you see a sunken dead man hole in the face. Two of them. Ruth, you are hearing commotion. Sorry, Joanne, you are hearing commotion, but you are behind a closed door. And unless you know how to smash through stone, I don't know how you're helping them.
Yeah, I don't think my powers are much use here. I can tell you that much.
No, but there's a skeleton grabbing you, so perhaps there are some physical actions you would like to take.
Yeah, I think the appropriate action here would be to try and grab the skeleton by the arm, because the skeletons aren't really that heavy.
Just grabbing? You throwing? What are you trying to do? Grapple back with him?
We're like the idea is more of like this swinging it into the other skeletons.
Okay, so you're just gonna try and fight back and send him flying if you can. Okay, so try strength brawl, see what that gets you.
I mean,
Let's see how the skeleton does. You guys kind of have a little bit of a tug of war. Not much. The skeleton is not strong. Nulai is not strong.
listen to the fucking skeleton. Where's no muscle?
The skeletons don't normally move around either. They normally lie very still, rotting. You're not even sure how the bones are connected to each other, given that all of the flesh has rotted off. And yet, they are. So, you don't feel a great amount of strength, but you feel an equal amount of strength, and you guys are just kind of like... Meanwhile, Katia, you will strength brawl to see if you can open this trapdoor with the brute power. Two successes gives you... It's wiggling. You know it'll happen, but it's not happening yet.
Might wanna re-roll?
Well, I mean, other things are happening. There is the shambling of several skeletons, and there's got to be a good 12 or so in the mausoleum, but there are 3 that are close enough to cause any bother for you guys. So the one that was grappling you, Nulai, is joined by a friend that is starting to grab at your back, and you're currently being... The attempt is to throw you to the ground, and you are disadvantaged here. If you would like to disentangle yourself or fight back against them, you have 2 skeletons and they are not your friend.
I have a third one inside my body.
That one's your friend.
See? We're equal then. I'm not disadvantaged.
So yeah, you could go for strength brawl to fight against it, or you could go for like dex athletics to try and get out of their grapples and their attacks and get away from them. You can't really mesmerize them. You can't really negotiate.
I don't think my skill set really has any good options here.
No.
But no, he just wanted to run right into the scary tomb, didn't he? Oh, I'm not going to let this go. For the rest of his unlife, I'm going to haunt him with this. It's going to be, I told you so. He's going to come out of the bathroom after taking a, like, I don't know.
A vampire shit.
His nose, and I'm going to be waiting there, and I'm going to be like, I told you so. He's going to, like, wake up after a nice sleep, and I'm going to pop my head around the corner and be like, told you so. Just as he takes his fangs out of the neck of his last meal, guess who's going to be there going, told you so.
Joanne is saying these things as they pace back and forth outside the closed mausoleum and listen to the rattling sounds of skeleton bones walking around. You can't see any skeletons, but you think you know what's happening.
You think I think that inspires me to blood surge here,
Oh, all right.
and I will just try my best to disentangle myself from them.
A blood surge
somehow away
is a rouse
from them.
check first. You get it either way. The rouse check is just to see whether it costs you, which it does. You are now at hunger 4, and Jesus, you wish those skeletons had blood.
And bite bone.
Your judgment is starting to be impaired more than normal by this level of hunger. But you do get your extra 2 die, yeah.
So what now? Brawl and strength?
If you're fighting, brawl and strength. If you're dodging, athletics and dex.
I guess that would be dodging then more so. Doesn't really matter. I have the same dice in both.
Right, but it informs me. Jesus. Nulai is getting wrestled to the ground by skeletons. Katya, a third skeleton is now... And this one, its little skeleton hand has a little jagged dagger thing, and while you are trying to pry open the trapdoor, above you there is a attempt to slash at your back, which you're not super aware of, but you can try to duck it in an opposed roll. I wouldn't say there's... If you turn to fight it off, you won't be making another attempt at the trapdoor. If you dodge successfully, you get another attempt at the trapdoor. If you dodge and fail, then you will be stabbed, and you probably won't be able to do the trapdoor.
Trapdoor first.
Okay, so dodge first, because otherwise you're eating the knife. That'll be Dex Athletics. Three successes. Your combat instincts are good. You know something's coming. You don't even have to look. You just... And you feel it whistle through the air, and you know that you don't have a lot of time to do this, so... strength and brawl. Remember, you got blood surges and stuff.
Yes, what we're gonna do is, we're gonna blood surge, and I'm going to try to haul up the plate, and ideally chuck it into one of Nulai's attackers. Hopefully get something off of him.
Okay, that's an interesting idea. I like it. Go on. Surge
So,
first, then roll.
rouse.
Yeah.
Rouse for the blood surge. Oh, I'm hungry.
The feeling of fullness leaves you as that old ache returns. But you're used to that. It's not very strong just yet. Probably should have rolled a hunger die with that, but
Oops.
3 successes. What was the last one? The last one... That was the dodge, I think? The last one was 2, that's 5 total. Yeah, I will say with a... You, You don't send it flying up into the face of a skeleton, but you do get the plate open, and you can see a little tunnel down, wide enough for you and Nulai both to leap into, but Nulai is currently going to have to get these skeletons off of him. You could abandon him and jump down if you like. There's a little, it's not a ladder, but there's like handholds and such As you look down, you can see it sort of opens up into a little cavern. The trip down is narrow, but it's not very low. It's, you know, it's more feet than a human would want to leap down, but you guys are probably, in a quick danger leap, get through. So, Nulai, the skeletons, are now effectively just... And it's not... In a weird way, it's horrifying, because it's skeletons, but they don't appear to be trying to kill you. They're just, like, grabbing at you and like, just being annoying. Because they don't have any weapons, I guess, and they can't punch very well. It's almost like you're getting play fought by corpses. Katia, meanwhile, is getting attacked with a knife.
I mean, I can try and wrestle them off of me, but I feel like I'm gonna need Katia's help on that one eventually.
Right now, if you don't choose to like sort of fight them necessarily and are just like trying to stay seriously injured, you can just sort of go with the flow of their... Other skeletons are there, but they don't appear to be trying to rush you necessarily. They're kind of just filling the mausoleum and standing and being like... But Katia, though, this other one, as you finish with the trapdoor and you turn around, this other one is going to try and slash you again. Except now, you are facing it and ready. So, are you going to attempt to dodge, or are you going to attempt to attack it again with the way this sort of game works, rather than turn, initiative? It's
We'll dodge.
If you attack and it attacks and you both attack, then the winner is the person whose attack happens.
I'll just focus on dodging.
Okay, another dex save. Not fantastic, but it needs to roll 2. Okay, that's a tie. It grazes you, like, you feel a slice, but it's a slice that doesn't really count as damage. Like, it's like, it was a little cut, but fucking so. It didn't embed itself or anything, but you didn't get away from it, and it is still menacing you. You have a moment to make a move of your own, but in order to get to Nulai, you would have to deal with the one that's going for you first.
Okay, well, I guess to get it out of my way, take a swing at it, try to just knock it off its feet. It's a skeleton. It's not like there are vital points to puncture. It's just shove out of my way so I can get.
So you're just using your body, not necessarily the knife. Okay, so yeah, strength brawl to effectively just tackle the skeleton and see what happens. Okay, it will attempt to resist that. Very poorly. So poorly, in fact, that it just kind of shatters. Like you slam into its middle and the bones just go skull slides. The skeleton just like all of its bits are still intact, they're just not together anymore. Seems like just a little bit of actual solid force, and the skeleton is bugged. Which is fantastic. There is no skeleton in between you and Nulai, who, unless you want to take action against the skeletons again with your terrible stats, is literally just being rolled around and scratched at and, like, mussed up. I'd say at this point we're moving up on a superficial point of damage here, because they are, like, rolling you around.
I do want to try what happens if I try to tase them.
Try to lick the skeleton?
Tase.
Tase.
With a tase.
Okay, that is not a roll. You activate your taser, you put it towards a bone, and the typical taser zap thing happens. And you continue to be menaced.
Alright.
But I would dare say that you've gotten a superficial damage there. Just one. Just for the amount of time that they've been doing that and you haven't managed to stop them. But they're not terribly good at what they're doing, so, you know, you're just taking the one. I marked it. Alright. Katia, do you assist your poor friend?
Oh, absolutely. Let's just haul them off and chuck them into the crowd, if we can.
Okay, the other skeletons don't seem to be trying to fill the other one's place. They're more, again, occupying space. I won't say that you have to roll for this because these skeletons aren't paying any attention to you. You pretty much just pick these ridiculous things up and chuck them away, and they shatter, and it's like...
Mm-hmm.
You almost feel like this is a fucking joke at this point. It's strange. But there's no further noise, no laughing or singing or anything.
Good.
But you managed
Get in the hole,
to
Nulai.
get him up. And I assume you guys fucking jump in the hole.
I'm sure Joanne can hear through the door. Get in the hole, Nulai, with no context.
Yes. Joanne continues to fume. I wish I had an option for you to get in or something, but it's a stone fucking building.
As we say in South Africa, it is what it is.
Yeah. Alright, but you guys get in the hole. And, looking at the time, I'll try and, keep things moving here. Y'all are looking around now at, a little cave home sort of thing. Like, there's blankets and a clearly made, sleeping space in a corner. In another corner, you find a corpse. Just a, let's go back to the... By the way, the skeletons aren't following. You hear shuffling, Joanne, and you hear the same sort of creaking and stuff, and you get the, like, you don't have the full context to understand what was going on, but it's the same sort of noises that you heard when they got out of their graves. Anyway. So you're looking at this... Yeah, you see a corpse drained of blood. It's that look of a person that has been eaten by a vampire to conclusion, which Katia knows well.
Very familiar sight.
Yes. I sort of skipped over it, but I assume that you disappeared the body in a way that you would know how to do. I'm not too interested in pursuing consequences there, so you're alright.
There might have been an embarrassed call to Mikhail along the lines of, can we get rid of a body? If that's how we do things around here. But that was earlier.
Yes. No service right now. His answer would have been something along the lines of, you remember where we are from. But anyway. Yes, that would have been very easy to do. He might have just like used resources rather than helped because the man is sore. But yeah.
My assumption, yes.
Anyway, that was fine. But yeah, there's a cold corpse. It is starting to rot. It doesn't look that old. Doesn't look like it's been there for weeks, like Jezebel said. So you get the impression that someone was here having a meal a few days ago, maybe. But it's not, it's not fresh. Other than that, you see piles and piles of books and notes, which catch your eye, Katia. But what catches Nulai's eye, very clearly laid out on a little so like a little not container, but little pedestal thing where it can sit and be placed properly, is a shining red jewel.
Look, told you. It all makes sense now.
As you look at this jewel, Nulai and Katia, as you look at it, as soon as you lay eyes on this jewel, you both have very different reactions. Nulai, you feel that surge in your mind again. As Juliet says, yes, that's it. And you hear her whispering, and she's clearer than she's ever been, and she's saying, you need to take hold of it, you need to think of me, you need to think of the earth, you need to think downwards, and you need to think of me, and everything will be fine. And she's whispering instructions to you. Katia, your reaction is different. As you see this, there is a sharp pain in your mind. Just instant headache, a stab. It strikes. I imagine you perhaps wouldn't visualize the shield the way Nulai does with his imaginative mind, but it strikes something, and you feel like it is striking a part of you that is protected, and you can put two and two together from that. It is like you are being assaulted, and as you look at it,
I'm gonna grab Nulai before he can move towards it. I'm sorry, go on.
It hurts. This is a bad news. As you look at it, as you see this glow, you know that this is a problem. This thing is doing stuff. Nulai, you want to touch it. Okay, so Katia is grabbing you, so play out the scene. Joanne, I'm afraid you don't get to be in this.
You see that?
Something. Don't touch. Don't go near. Something. My head. It's don't. Just don't. Don't. Leave this for the experts.
I thought we are the experts. We are the hit squad. We are the law.
Okay. We're the experts on killing the shit out of people. That doesn't mean we know what this is. Let's, Selena, maybe, somebody, later. Let's grab the books, read, understand, before we leap.
As you guys are discussing this, we'll turn outside. Joanne, there is commotion of a sort behind you as the gate has moved, and you see, quite comical really, you see Celia not sprinting, but as fast as little old lady can, running towards you. And, you know, with a bit more out of breath than you're usually used to, the calm, collected nature of her. She's on her own. She says, "Where are they? Where is he?" Unmute. Unmute.
I thought I did. So annoying. Well, there, unless you know how to open magical tombs, we might not be able to get to them.
If he touches the crystal, it's got him. And she is just running. And as she approaches the closed mausoleum, she stops, looks at it, and just walks through.
Oh, wow.
Do you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I would be very cautious because this feels like some platform 9 3/4 shit here. So I'm not gonna run headfirst into it. I'm just gonna be like.
So you're not sure about it? It's a solid wall. Okay, you are still outside.
Great.
But Celia has entered, and
Can I call to Celia?
you can, if you can shout after her. You're like,
Yeah, ask her if I can follow.
says, she just calls back and says, "You should."
Okay, then I'll follow her.
If you walk in with the knowledge that that it will work, then you will be able to get through. And you see the mausoleum. You see bones scattered and what looks like the remnants of like destroyed skeletons. But you also see a lot of caskets and tombs and places that are once again closed, and the skeletons are not there. Katia and Nulai are arguing, and as that happens, Nulai,
I'm not only arguing, but I'm physically restraining him.
the pulsing at your mind is heavier and more urgent, and you are hearing her say, "Don't let them stop you, don't let them stop you. I need this, it's the only way. They won't understand. You need to grab it now. You need to grab it now."
Look, if we're not here to take the fucking crystal, then why the fuck are we here? Investigate.
Katia,
We already knew what we were doing.
Katia, roll willpower itself. Not so under willpower you'll see WP reroll. That's not it. Willpower. Just roll willpower right there. Success is 1. There is a very painful strike right into your mind, and it like feels like a physical blow and your ability to hold Nulai is like not there. You are like knocked over. Nulai Kadia just suddenly like yelps in pain and is brought down. Juliet is screaming for you to reach out and grab this crystal. You want to, and you are not being restrained. But you don't have to.
Yeah, now it's like... It's too convenient.
Yeah.
Now comes the part where, she fell down a little too easy. That was not the argument that should have stopped, made her to fall down and stop holding me. Now it's like, I'm trying to like mentally contact Juliet and ask like, what the hell was that about? Why is Katya down now? What happened?
She is barely coherent herself. She is just, focused on that crystal. She needs someone. She needs you to use it to break. She says something about break its spell, and she's told you what she needs you to do, but she's not really answering what you're saying. It's a very loud voice at this point. It's all around. It's
scaring me.
Harder to resist. And at this point, I think
What
we
else
should
do I
also
see
make the
in
willpower roll.
Why not? There.
One success. She's right. She's right, of course she's right, it's Juliet. Katya wasn't able to stop you because she's not supposed to. You went looking for answers and this is what you got.
Of course. Break the spell. The only way. I take a few steps closer to it, reaching the pedestal.
Make one more check. Same roll. All about the willpower here. Does that voice of 3. There's that tiny piece of sense in your mind, wondering if you should trust her. You feel as though you would like to reach out, take the crystal, picture Juliet in your mind, do exactly what she told you to do. It's definitely a desire to do that and to just trust her and to just stop having to worry about everything and stop having to think everyone's out to get you. Surely this is right. Surely this one person is here and is correct and is telling you the truth. But those doubts are still there and you are able to make the decision without
I want to check my
compelled.
surroundings.
At this point, Celia and Joanne are hurrying in, and you can hear their footsteps. And you can hear Celia's shout from above. Don't fucking touch it! Which is swearier than you normally hear from her. Katya, you are fucking out at this point. You are conscious, but you are just being pounded by brain stuff. And Joanne, you're starting to get headache as well. Your surroundings are a dark cave with a little, sleeping spot and notes and books and paper and a body and not a lot of... It's a claustrophobic spot, and you see the little hole in the top to enter with the footholds.
I'm specifically looking for something heavy to smash it with.
Nice. You could smash the crystal with some heavy books and tomes and such.
I want to look for the heaviest one.
Okay. You grab a
I'm kind of mentally like
Absolute
stalling for it because
monster of a thing,
like
that, something Holy Bible.
Well, it seems ironic enough that I'll take it.
At this point, Celia, she doesn't just jump in the hole, she sort of glides down ahead of Joanne. She takes one look at Katya, she looks at you, looks at the book in your hand. Are you going to destroy it?
Told me to pick it up, but I feel like it doesn't make sense.
Make another willpower check. The voice is still in your head, it ain't stopped.
I keep losing it. It's in that awkward middle.
Stronger. It is a lot stronger. You've got the book in your hand now. But Juliet is starting to make sense again. Celia's brow furrows. She's like... Says... That object is doing two things. It is maintaining the magic in this place. And if you use it, it is going to take you away. You are not going to like where you end up.
Where is Juliet?
Probably on the other end.
Can I, at this point, grab the book from Nulai and just smash the thing myself?
You'll have been able to get down. You could attempt to run in and wrestle with Nulai, yeah. Now tell me honestly, would you have looked at the crystal? Knowing absolutely nothing about it, yeah. You probably would have looked at the crystal. Make that willpower roll. It's just the big willpower button under the top of your sheet.
Okay.
See if it... This should be something that you're not too bad with. Got a lot of dice there, I think.
Yeah.
You feel an attempt at a strike, like on your mind. It lands right at the part of yourself that is protected. Doesn't hurt, but you know it was supposed to. Nothing happens. You are able to run for Nulai and grab the book. Nulai, at this point, very much want to drop the book and go grab the crystal. But perhaps as Joanne begins to grab onto it, there's enough of you that's being guided, to know that she doesn't want to use the book for anything good, so perhaps you will fight. At this point, where your head is at and how you did with that last check, I would say that you are either going to attempt to stop her from getting the book, or you are going to grab the crystal yourself. I wish I could give you more freedom than that, but this is powerful shit.
I mean, if the crystal is taking control of me, then I would be probably dropping the book.
Okay.
I think that's how it would work.
Nulai drops the book almost into Joanne's hands. Joanne, you raise it up to smash it. Nulai, you're going to grab it. It's probably Dex Athletics on Nulai versus Strength Brawl on Joanne, and whoever has more success, either Nulai grabs the crystal before Joanne can whack and Joanne whacks nothing, or Joanne smacks the crystal before Nulai makes it.
Oh, shit. Okay, what did you say it was for me? Strength?
Strength Brawl, because you're just using brute force. It's basically two people who are bad at stuff doing what they're bad at. Badly. But you succeeded both dice, so Nulai, I don't know if you should even roll, but do it.
I mean, I wanted her to roll first, so that...
To be fair, considering you're not acting with your full will, perhaps this is what you want. But yeah, 0 successes for Nulai, 2 successes for Joanne. Nulai, you leap. And Joanne, you basically just like throw the book almost, but you just slam it down. You hear a ksh as Nulai leaps and grabs dust. And as soon as it is shattered, all of that influence in your mind flies away. Katya, your head is clear. Celia breathes a sigh of relief. The crystal is dust. And something changes in the air. You feel as though whatever had hold over this whole cemetery is gone. And everyone is safe and happy. And Celia looks you in the eye. Nulai. Is it still talking to you?
Nulai with the book?
You can hit Nulai with the book if you want to.
I want to.
Nulai, did you make an attempt to resist this?
I don't think Nulai would be still so fully conscious to even realize it.
Okay. Are you attempting to hurt him or just to be petty?
Hurt?
You're attempting to be muted, I say. You're still muted. I
think we can.
I think we get the idea, but I would like to hear what the words were supposed to be. Oh my god!
Press the mute button.
We can't hear you! What's wrong with your mic?
Oh.
There you go.
Oh my god. It would probably be something along the lines of like, oh, what were you thinking? Idiot.
You're not trying to deal him damage, is what I'm saying. Okay. So you sort of whap him on the head and...
Post-adrenaline rush, like...
Okay. Celia waits, though she does have something to say to Nulai when you guys have got it out of your system. Celia does not look out of breath, despite what she was doing. Mages.
Do I have to roll to smack him?
Nah. If he's not making any attempt to get out of the way, you whap him on the head with the book as you start yelling at him.
Great.
Ow.
And the Oscar goes to...
There'll be more than an hour in your future if you pull that crap again.
It has been a great many years, but I recall what hangovers feel like now.
Oof.
Celia shakes her head. No lie. I assume there was a lot happening inside your head tonight.
Well, something along those lines, I guess.
Did you break the shielding? You didn't.
No.
Then you are perhaps not completely safe. Neither of you heard anything.
Only here.
Outside of this tomb, nothing. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Nulai, you are a Malkavian and you do not know much of your ancestry, am I correct?
Hey, you're the one telling my life story here.
It is not that I know who you are and where you are from. It is what the evidence would suggest.
Alright.
This
Sherlock.
adversary we face is known to be of the Malkavian clan. While I cannot say for certain regarding the Hammersley line, yourself and Juliet, I believe that their traced back far enough would be a direct blood connection between you and that which lurks below, Nulai. For that reason, I believe it wants you. For that reason, I believe that when it gets you, if it gets you, you will not come through it yourself.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
A kindred that old. Its powers are unfathomable, but its body is withered. It sleeps almost constantly because it cannot simply rise and walk about. You can. Do the math. Do not listen to the voices, no matter how familiar they may sound. As for your prince, it is possible that she has already been taken by it. It is possible that she resists. Being Malkavian, the problem that we have is that if Prince Juliet is being used in the way I expect it wishes to use you, Nulai, then why is it going after you and not the prince's child as well? If Prince Juliet is being used, then why would it go after you at all? These are the questions we must ask. I do not know the direct bloodlines. Not every Malkavian has a connection to a degree, but the more direct it is, the more powerful and perhaps the more use such a creature could get out of walking inside your mind and taking your body for its own. I'm sorry to tell you this, dearie, to Joanne. It is possible that your Juliet is gone without being gone. It is also possible that she fights. Or that she is not being used for that at all. But yes. If you had have taken that crystal and allowed it to abscond with you, then the next time we saw you, you would probably be...
Not me?
Well, I'm not you right now.
I suggest you be very grateful to your friend, is what I'm saying. Gestures to Joanne.
But I was gonna smash it. Did you not see the book in my hand?
Yeah, something about our history. Yeah, maybe it's just the fact that you seem to have a hard time resisting stupid impulses. I couldn't be sure you were gonna do it.
His mind was being influenced by a creature older than all of us combined. I understand your frustrations.
I'm quite fond of Nulai, but even the weakest of influences sometimes seems to get a hold of him, and I'm not sure if it's just because he likes to live life dangerously, or...
The danger is averted. I have no interest in your domestic. I shall take my leave. This place smells of death.
Yeah, could we go?
I'm gonna gather up whatever books, personal notes appear to have been left behind by the occupant of this place. If we get any new leads out of this adventure, that's where they come from, I think.
You're frazzled,
makes
but you
sense.
managed to do so. I would be wanting
I knew I would have said.
to bring us to a close here. That could have gone very differently. It would not have been the end of Snip as Nulai in the Chronicle, but it would have gone differently if Nulai had have been able or unable to resist, unable to be freed from what was going to be occurring to him there. But yeah, you guys collect notes from Marilyn, and you now have a bunch of stuff to pore over next session, hopefully when Flynn is with us.
Excellent.
Let me just make a giant note there saying Marilyn's notes so I don't forget that, and then at the start of the next session you're like, hey, we look at those texts we found, and I'm like, oh shit. That would be embarrassing. the day of terrible rolls will be decided by a contest of terrible rolls. I just noticed that line. That's very good. Yeah, you know, it wasn't a wonderful show of vampiric ability from you guys, but I kept throwing things at you that you weren't good at, so that happens. Except for Katia versus the skeleton, that was good. Anyhow, yeah. You guys might find leads on the temple there. There's definitely no, like, extra passageways down there. It was literally just a hovel that Marilyn had lived in and hid in. However she accessed the underground in her delvings came from another place, which you'll have to look at her notes further to find out. But you guys feel as though you have made some progress, if it was traumatic and awful, and Joanne is going to be annoyed for a while. However, there is an order
Learning
of
is
business,
often a painful process.
and this is something rather private, because nobody else witnessed this, but Katia, in grappling with the events of today, will need to make a remorse check, which has its own button at the bottom of the first part of your sheet, because your humanity is in question after what you have done. And you need to figure out deep inside your soul whether this has permanently affected your connection to humanity, or whether you are able to shrug it off. I believe it's as simple as hitting the remorse button and seeing what shows up, and the calculations are done. In a remorse check, yeah.
You only need one success.
Yeah, it's interesting that you get 4 dice to 5. It's correct, whatever it is. Oh no, it's what's it's the opposite. It's the points of humanity you don't have that you roll, not the points that you do. So you have the worse, the lower your humanity is, the more chances you have to succeed, because you have less to feel guilty.
Snowball effect.
Yeah. So all you need is one success to regain yourself. So your humanity is passed. You have not lost a point of humanity. You remain 6 humanity, which is the low end of high. You do not feel as though you have taken a step further towards the beast. You are able to think about the stresses that you are under and the heightened situation, and you are able to forgive yourself for letting go in that one moment without falling into a trap of further self-loathing and detachment. You're able to come to terms with it and continue on as yourself. Second time we've had to do one of these. The first time happened in the very first session with poor Flynn, who lost a point of humanity. So you're lucky there, Katia, especially on the night of terrible rolls. And that brings us to a close. We had our Halloween cemetery adventure, which suited... I had the mausoleum idea for a while, and this seemed like the right time to put it in. I hope you all enjoyed a bit of stakes there. I'm not going to say really what the direction it would have gone in if it had gone the other way, because Nulai may still fall prey to this, but I will say that it would not be it would not be character ending. It wouldn't be, Nulai's an NPC now, sorry. You would still be you. But it is something that Nulai now is aware is being sought after for him, so perhaps he can be better ready to resist it. If Nulai wishes to remain free and clear. Thank you, everybody, and farewell. We will be back next time. I'll be back on Wednesday, and this show will be back in 2, 3, 4 weeks, whichever how many Sundays it takes us to get everyone together. Thank you for your patience in our late start, but hey, you got a slightly late finish out of it, so fare thee well.